you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest season that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that educates you and makes you smarter for over 24 years. And, over 2,400 episodes. We're not 24 years old. Geez, my back's really tired if we are. And over 16 years of being in the Chris Voss Show. We turned 17 in August. 2 more months? Jesus, wow. Anyway, we've been around for a long time, folks. To refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today we had an amazing young man on the show where we talked about his journey where he took his company from the back of his car into a golf performance and direct pay physical therapy industry leader. Entrepreneurism, we love it. It's just the greatest thing in the world. Chris Finn, the founder and CEO of his company, joins us on the show today called par4success.com. And we're going to be talking to him about his data, his info, how he built his company, how he's gained success, and keeps on growing. Chris is a licensed physical therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, Titleist Performance Institute certified medical professional, certified precision nutrition coach, and Golf Digest Top 50 golf fitness professional. Welcome to the show, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great. That was a heck of an intro.
Well, you got a heck of a bio, man. You personally work with players in the PGA, the LPGA, the Korn Ferry Tour, and World Long Drive Champions. So there's a lot of golfing going on here on the show today. It's the golf show today.
we do it a little bit here and there. Yeah, but it's definitely golf through and through here.
And give us all your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, I mean at Instagram, Facebook, X. I mean, it's all just at par4success, par the number 4 success, and then par4success.com. That's kind of all the great places people can find us.
So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there.
Yeah, so our mission is really to help every golfer in the world play the game as long as possible at as high of a level as possible. So the number one reason why kids stop playing a sport, why grown men after they've retired stop playing the game of golf is it stops becoming fun anymore. And the body is a big reason why, particularly for those listening who are over the age of 40. We all know that we don't wake up in the morning and feel like we did when we were 20. And so that obviously limits the game of golf. And, our mission really day to day is using data and research to help every golfer out there, stop losing distance, stop the pain or aches that come with golf and just really be able to enjoy the game as long as they can.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild setup on golfing, how it works. You've got to do the weird swing and you've got to do it perfectly, and I imagine there's shoulders, there's hips, rotation, everything else that's into it. And I mean, it's as you get older, things don't quite move as smoothly maybe.
They for sure don't. It's actually funny when we look at our data. We have over 15,000 people in the database at this point. And
wow.
Once you hit age 41, it's funny, Chris. It's literally like you're driving along and then just boom, 41, there's a cliff that people just fall off of.
That's kind of how I felt when I hit the 40s. I was like, my body parts are starting to fall off. I have to.
Well, there's data to back it too.
Really?
You're not alone. And it's just super common for people as they age.
I wish somebody told me sooner that it was going to go to shit sooner, because would have planned better somehow. I don't know. I would have done more or something. I don't know. But, I always figured it didn't go to shit till about 65. So you guys help drive golf performance. How do you do that? How do you work with people to make them better? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to describe it is just visually for people to think of a pizza and think of like 4 big slices. If you broke it into 4 quarters, and there's 2 of the quarters are, one is kind of having the right equipment, obviously the golf clubs and shoes and all that sort of stuff. The other is obviously the technique, the weird swing that has to quote unquote be perfect, right? And that's where people are very aware of, like, I got to take lessons or I got to go get the right equipment. Those are the 2 areas that I think most golfers are aware of. And those are the 2 areas that we don't do really much in, other than tell people, hey, your golf club is 20 years old. Get a new golf club. You'll probably pick up distance, right? Kind of
serious?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. What we focus on is more the other 2, slices of pizza, which are really, how mobile are you? I mean, you alluded to the shoulders and the hips. There's 4 main rotational centers. And also, how strong or powerful are you in a way that actually matters for golf. So, for instance, you could take an NFL linebacker who's as strong as an ox, and their strength may not necessarily be quote unquote golf strength. So you can have a string bean of a guy, if anyone's ever watched golf, and those guys would die in a fight against a linebacker, but they can hit it farther than a linebacker. And that's just because they have strength in the right areas. So really what we do is we help golfers, hit the ball farther. We have obviously our physical therapy or medical side of things where we help golfers get out of pain, not just on the golf course, but also their day-to-day lives. And what you said, you didn't think everything went to shit till 65. That's unfortunately how long people wait usually. And they're like, okay, it's actually unbearable. I need to do something about it. What we're seeing is people who actually take action, like in their 50s, for example. Their 60s don't suck as much. But I think that's kind of what we're trying to help people do.
Well, it's good to not suck as much. I remember I used to suck at golf, and then I was in Las Vegas. Who's the famous master from the 60s? One of the early, he's the big famous guy. I forget anyway, I forget his name. But I took this.
Nicholas Palmer.
It was Nick Palmer. Yeah. And I took his course in Vegas, and I went, holy shit, I'm going to have to relearn. I'm going to throw away everything I learned about the game and start over again. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I quit. Sometimes you just got to go, this isn't my thing. But no, it's good that people can get that with golf. Tell us your entrepreneurial journey with this. Was this the first company you started? What made you, what is the story here of your hero's journey of building this company?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think entrepreneurially for me, it started, I was a physical therapist at a local university hospital here in North Carolina. And I just moved down from the Northeast. I wasn't aware of the ACC rivalry between UNC and Duke. And I made the mistake of referring a patient over to Duke from UNC who needed to go there for, there was a specialist there or whatever. And long story short, my boss told me, he said, hey, we don't do that here. If you refer her over, like, you're going to get written up. And so I thought it was in the best interest of the patient. So I did it anyway, kind of middle finger in his face. And I got written up for insubordination. And I went home. After that meeting, I got about a quarter mile down the road. He had made me sign, the whole thing saying I was insubordinate and whatnot.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So I got about a half mile down the road, and I actually ripped the car a U. Went back, didn't even park the car, just left it running in front of the building, went in. He was still sitting there. I took the insubordination paper that he made me sign. I ripped it up, dropped it on his lap, and then went home and told my wife, I didn't think I was going to be a good employee, and I probably just needed to do something on my own. So that was kind of the
wives love to hear that.
Yeah. So that was kind of the start of it. At that point, obviously I was in the strength and conditioning, physical therapy space. I had fallen in love with golf after college. I said, hey, golfers have money that they could probably pay me. Let me see if I can do some stuff to help them. And so I truly just basically bought a $100 treatment table off Amazon, drove around to different golf courses and just asked golfers on driving ranges if they let me work with them. And, fast forward 10 years, or I guess we're 12 years now. And now we've got a team of almost 50 people, around the country.
Wow.
We're fully remote, as well as have 11,000 square foot facility here in Raleigh. So it's been a journey, to say the least. But yeah, definitely, it all started with me realizing that I kind of just like to do my own thing. I want to, if I'm going to spend time working, I want to make sure I'm doing it my way and the way that I feel is best. And so that's kind of where it started.
Yeah. Congratulations. Right out of the back of your car. That takes some bravado, too, to be saying, hey, take your job and shove it.
Well, some people may call it bravado. I would call it ignorance. Ignorance is bliss at that point in my early 20s.
Did you... obviously, you felt like maybe you had some gumption for you. You maybe had the moxie for it, or were you just frustrated to a point that you're just like, fuck it, I'll try anything at this point, rather than have to work for someone else? I guess
it was probably. There definitely was an element of frustration. There also was awareness. I was pretty good at what I did, but I think ultimately, with a big realization I've come to now is, like, looking back, is I don't know. I certainly wasn't confident in what I was doing. I didn't go to business school. I was like reading 4-hour work week and watching YouTube videos and trying to figure out how the heck you do a business side of things. Mm-hmm. But really, I think a lot of entrepreneurs have, there's just an unwavering self-belief that, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm 100% confident I will figure it out, and I'm not going to stop until I do. And I think that stuck with me from the beginning. And so there definitely was zero confidence, but 100% self-belief. And I think that's what I've kind of leaned on, whether ignorant or not, it's worked so far. So
kind of, I'm not a big, I don't totally believe in manifesting. You have to do the work, mm-hmm. You can't just sit around and put on the vision board and hope that the car shows up. Right.
You got
to do some work. You got to do the work. So if you, what's the old saying with, luck is what happens when opportunity meets effort. Hard work, yeah. And it's really true. You tend to gear luck, but also if you're driving towards something. And so it's great that you did that. So this was your first business attempt then, right?
Yeah, it's actually funny. It's technically my only business, but within the one, as any guy trying to fully supporting his family, there was a foray into like baseball performance training early on, or you basically in the beginning you take anybody that will give you money, right? And so the defined avatar wasn't necessarily stuck to in the beginning. So there's been definitely iterations within it, and even in the beginning it was very much, especially pre-COVID, it was very much an in-person service business. Think of a gym and physical therapy clinic would be the most closely related type thing to what we were doing. And, I'd always kind of believed in the online side of things. And I, from day one, kind of wanted to do, online training of golfers. And just, so I'd kind of been messing around with it since probably 2017. And then obviously COVID hit in 2020, governor here in North Carolina shuts down everything in person.
Oh yeah.
And it was a forcing function for everyone in the world to be like, well, I can't go to the gym. Like, how do I get workouts or stay fit? And so particularly for the 50-plus-year-old golfer, it was like, who never before would have ever tried anything online or remote. They were like, well, my only option, I'll try it. And it's just been absolute, caught fire and just hasn't stopped since. And so that's where we really kind of transitioned at this point to, we're 90+% what we do is remote and online. And then we have a in-person headquarters that we use to kind of augment that.
So now are all the people, you said you have people spread out throughout the country, are they all your employees? Do you do franchising at all?
No, so we're definitely focused at growing the online model of it. So we have employees, in about 20 different states. I think that's one of the cool things. When I started the business, my goal's always been to kind of be the gold standard, and obviously what we deliver in terms of golf fitness and rehab. But I think ultimately also to be one of the, a great place for strength coaches and physical therapists to work. Anybody who's ever been in the gym business or the physical therapy business knows that, the work schedules as a trainer or a PT are shit. You're working doubles, you're up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. 6 a.m. would be late, right? You're working 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. And, it's a tough life. And so to be able to do it online, we're able to give, strength coaches, bring them in out of that world. They can work a normal 9 to 5 and make more than they would make in the gym world. So it's been cool to kind of be able with the model, not only deliver the same outcomes remotely as we do in person. That's a big part of our research kind of mission, but also to give from the employee standpoint, improve the kind of the employee life or just kind of work experience, which has been fun.
Yeah, definitely. So, who's your prospective client? If someone's out there listening, how do they know that they fit the bill of what you can help them with?
Yes, I think the ideal client is somebody who loves the game of golf, is playing, at least once a week. Generally 45 plus, I would say, that's generally when the body's breaking down. So you can't play as much as you'd like to, or you've lost distance compared to where you used to hit it. You're losing lots of money to your friends every time you play. All of those things would qualify. I think that is, if we're talking like the target, like ideal person that we work with. But we also help tons of guys, in their 30s who are, maybe they were college players. Now they're trying to play competitively in the mid-am world.
Oh, really?
And then obviously, and then we have obviously PGA and LPGA tour players that you see on TV every week, all the way down to 10-year-olds. But definitely the biggest clientele that we work with are those, high level individual achievers, C-suite guys, who enjoy playing the game of golf. They're busy, they travel a lot. It's like, how do I help my golf game even if I only got 15 minutes a day? Those are the people that we help.
Gain at least 10 yards, improve your turn flexibility, and stop pain. Is that a natural movement, the movement that we make for the golf swing? Is that, I know in like baseball pitching, that's not a natural movement. And that's why, pitchers get fucked up. Or at least that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. I suppose somebody's going to write me. Is it a natural movement, that whole, thing that we do?
No, you don't do that every morning when you wake up, Chris?
No.
Yeah, neither does anyone else in the world. Yeah, it's definitely not a normal movement. It's, and I think particularly as we get older, with the doctors, the lawyers, the business executive, like y'all sit on an airplane, you sit in a desk, you sit in your car, like you're not doing anything that's helping you rotate more. You're actually doing things that are going to eliminate your body's ability to rotate. So now you then go out and try to play the game of golf, which is telling you to rotate as fast and hard as you can. It's like trying to drive. It's driving a Porsche without brakes. Yeah. Like at some point, the road's going to curve, or there's going to be a need to stop, and you're not going to be able to. And then that's when people run into problems.
Yeah, my girlfriend says I need to rotate more, but I'm not going to finish the rest of that joke. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway, I mean, what can you do in 30 seconds? Anyway, what else do we need to know about your company and what you do for golfers that maybe we haven't touched on and teased out to people?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that, the number one thing that golfers are missing right now is that they don't understand what's possible for their age. I think the average person listening right now, if they're playing the game of golf, is wildly underestimating what's possible for their age.
Wow.
So, and I think that's the cool thing. We have, if you guys go to parksuccess.com/podcast, we've actually got there for you for free. It takes 5 minutes. You can assess, real quick, the main rotational centers. And then from there, we'll actually send you, what, shows you how you compare to other guys your age, what's actually possible versus where you're at. It shows you your club head speed, where you rank for other golfers your age group. So it really kind of gives people like I would call it like a reset, like a reality reset of, hey, just because losing 10 yards every 10 years is, while most people are doing that, it's not, that's not actually normal. Like if you do the right stuff, you actually can gain distance over the years. And
really?
Yeah. And so I think we've got guys now in their mid 80s that are swinging faster than when they were in their 70s.
You should call it the Viagra of golfing.
There we go. We may change the title of it. Yeah, get your Viagra prescription here. Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know, honey. It's still 30 seconds, but on the golf course they got 10 more yards. So
it's worth it. It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. It's all about me. So, yeah, I mean, extra 10 yards per swing. What you do, 3 to 4 par hole, so that's an extra 40 yards technically. And you do that every hole. You're looking at you might be able to take on Tiger Woods maybe. or I don't know. Or
well,
Tiger Woods'
now
wife.
he's got 2 broken legs and his back don't work, so you might be able to take on Tiger. Even now, I don't know. But
you can really see the pain in him. I think there for a while after that crash, you could really see the pain in him trying to swing and stuff.
He's had a tough aging process, to say the least.
Yeah, don't drive your car off of cliffs and get a prenup. Anyway,
yeah, exactly.
So I'm not sure what any of that means, but no, I mean, this is a real big deal. Golf is still a great game. Golf is still a great networking game, isn't it? For if you want to network with C-suite type people and be able to play and know people that are professional. You don't see a lot of people like is it Jim Daly that I want to refer to as the white trash.
Yeah, exactly. John Daly drinking and smoking everywhere. Yeah,
smoking, and I don't know. He's got Hooters. He's got Hooters on call as his sponsor, I think. And so, yeah. But, you usually see sophisticated people playing golf, mainly because it's so damn expensive.
It definitely is exclusive from a cost standpoint. But, yeah, I think if you're talking about as an entrepreneur who wants to, network or C-suite, it's just something, any business line of work you're in, you're trying to network with other higher net worth professionals. Yeah, I mean, golf. Mm-hmm. The golf is where it happens. I mean, the number of business deals I see on the course every week, and whether it's getting invited to play in members or member guests, or just getting to go out and play a weekend round with a group of guys and become introduced. I mean, that line of connection and business making is very much alive, particularly since the resurgence after COVID. I mean, the golf has just exploded since then.
And you work with juniors. You work with younger people too, as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's cool. We have now been doing this for over a decade now. We have kids that I worked with back when they were 12 and 13, and now they're playing on the PGA Tour on TV every week. They're playing in the majors, and so it's cool to watch and working with the junior golfers with the kids and watching them develop as they go through high school and then getting into college and then trying to make it professionally. And so it's fun that we're able to kind of work with from the time they're starting the game all the way to we've got 92, 93-year-olds that we work with, just trying to play one more year. And so being able to kind of work with that, through the entire spectrum is really cool.
Yeah. Well, and imagine getting the right movement down and being able to, I don't know, I guess loosen up and, the physical therapy aspects of it. If you learn that when you're young, maybe it'll extend your run as a good golfer into old age. Is that the thinking process behind it?
Yeah, I think, the golf fitness side of things really didn't. Yeah, I think the group of tour players you see now in their 20s are the ones that kind of were the front end of growing up with quote unquote working out and doing those sorts of things. I think the guys, the pros that are coming up kind of late teens, kind of just finishing college now, are really that next generation that's truly had fitness their entire lives. And what you're seeing on tours, the speeds that these guys are hitting are just stupid faster every single year. And then, guys that are in their 40s or 50s where, the fitness trailer on the PGA Tour was where you went to drink a bourbon and smoke a cigar after the round, away from all the fans. Like those guys and what they are producing from a speed perspective relative to what the younger guys are, you're just seeing the game evolve in front of our eyes. And it's all because of the science and research and understanding how to actually train golf performance that's been happening over the last 5 to 10 years.
And I know you guys have a podcast and a YouTube as well. Is that true?
Yeah, we do. We have the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad is our podcast. So that's been a lot of fun for me, just selfishly, because we have like all the top 100 instructors are on there. We have all the leading kind of minds in the golf performance space, and so it's fun. We kind of have them on our pod and sit down, and it's fun being on the other side of the other mic here with you. But running the interviews and trying to basically get from them, their insights from their years, of coaching and or playing, and we have players that have come on too, and giving insights to other golfers out there who want to learn more, kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff and what the best players in the world do. So that's fun on our podcast. That's the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad, and then we have our YouTube channel is probably our big kind of content generator. That's where we do a lot of educational stuff visually, where we'll head over to our force plates and we'll record as we're doing different experiments and research. And for anyone who's a geek in terms of wanting to understand every possible thing they can about their body and golf, and that's a big channel that we leverage as well.
So I also see there's the golf performance assessment, but there's also become a P4S partner. How does that work?
Yes, that's basically anybody who's in the golf business, whether you're an instructor or a retailer. There's product companies that are basically anybody who works with golfers, whether indirectly outside of the fitness space or on the instructional or equipment, whatever it may be. We have a great kind of partner program where people can they can apply to become a part of that. There is an application process. We kind of interview if we feel like it's a good fit. Then we bring you guys into our community, and I think there's a lot of cool benefits for our partners, golfers, and that we'll do free private webinars. We'll do a lot of inside content that we don't necessarily release publicly to them. Just our goal is just to try to help our partners provide more value to their customer bases. And, at some point we know that one of their customers is going to have a back pain or lose distance. And then obviously we hope at that point that person's familiar with us and that they think of us to help them solve that. But that's a cool program that we started just to support other people in the golf space who want to add more value to their customer bases.
Mm-hmm. So what's been the hardest thing that you've had to do being an entrepreneur, would you say? Off the top of your head, what's the hardest thing you've done?
Yeah, I think it's different in the different phases, right? And I'm sure I think in the beginning, I would say it's physically demanding and hard because you're the only one doing anything.
You're doing everything.
And then for me, we were 6 years. We had just signed a lease on our first bigger space. I had my first 4 employees. I was generating about 85% of the revenue, and I had to have emergent open heart surgery.
Oh, geez, wow.
So that was interesting. That was hard. Yes, you're supposed to rest, Chris, after 12 to 16 weeks. I was back in 4 weeks with staples in my chest and got to make money. We're going to figure this out.
You got the IV bag hooked up to you, and that's working. You go beep, beep, beep.
Exactly. So I think that part of my journey for me was physically very, very hard. I would say now having, a team of almost 50 people, I think it's more the people management side and figuring out how to hire, how to incentivize, how to manage and lead, you got to do less. I think that honestly is probably the hardest thing for me at this moment right now. Is I literally had a phone call with my VP of ops yesterday, and he's like, dude, you just got to do less. You move too quickly for everyone else. And it was it's okay. We got it. And so I think that's letting go control and letting your leaders that are in a good spot and their teams can do it, to let them kind of grow and in a way kind of let the bird out of the baby bird out of the nest, I guess.
Delegate. But you got a lot of people now that you can delegate to. What's been the most rewarding thing to you about being an entrepreneur? What would you say has been the most rewarding for you?
Yeah, I think there are 2 phases here too. I think the initial one for me was when I was doing a lot of the work. It was the client successes, right? Because I had my hands on them, and getting one guy who the doctor told him he'd never walk again, and 10 months later, he not only is he walking, but he's playing golf. And his wife filming him walking into the doctor's office, walking with nothing and just flipping him off, and then just turning around and walking out. That was pretty cool. So that was I think that those kind of moments were big early on. I think at this point for me, the most rewarding thing is watching the team grow. That conversation that I literally had yesterday was so rewarding. It was I got a phone. I was all right, they're ready. I did my job. They're good to go. Now I just let them do their thing. And so I think that to me has been the most recently, the most rewarding is seeing people who come in at a lower level position and just elevate, and then they start taking over to the point where they're like, hey, Chris, we got it. You can chill and go work on other stuff. So pretty cool.
What a wonderful entrepreneurial success. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. It's been a blast coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Give us your .coms, everything as we go out.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys want to check us out, probably the best place to go is parforsuccess.com/podcast. That's where we have all the free stuff for you guys. And, the YouTube, Instagram, everything is just par, number 4, success. So you can, any social platform you're on, Par for Success. If you want to go direct, check it out. I'd go to parforsuccess.com/podcast. We got a lot of free stuff there for you. Give you some free value.
Thank you very much for coming to the show. Thanks, Jonas, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should have